little bit like what it would be like if Jerry and Elaine got married on Seinfeld.
We're the downtown version of them. They live on 89th Street or something, and we live on 12th Street and 5th Avenue.
And all sets in Burbank anyway, right?
Right, and it all takes place in Culver City, so forget it.
But for this to work, people have to believe there has to be a natural chemistry, not just decent acting, but a natural chemistry between you and Paul Reiser, so people look and say, yeah, those two could be married.
Thank God we get along, because I'm with this person like many hours of the day. I knew him a little bit before the show started. His wife and a friend of mine are friends, and so we knew each other a little bit, and I had a dinner party and had them over to dinner, and we got into this conversation, like 6 of us, about marriage and relationships, and 3 months later he called me and said, I wrote this thing that you should read, and I loved it, and get along with him, thank God.
You're a little bit neurotic, and you played a variety of roles. I mean, your character is a little bit neurotic. I haven't known you long enough to make that judgment. You've known me for 10 minutes, so it's incredible.
It's uncanny. I am a little bit neurotic.
I saw through you, didn't I?
You did. Wow.
I'm incredibly intuitive that way. Your character is a little bit neurotic, and it might not be immediately obvious because Reiser's neurosis is more on the surface,
right.
but yours is underneath.
The hope was that the show would never settle into being, you know, he's the neurotic one and she's the grounded one, or she's kooky and he takes care of her, because since I signed up for 5 years, potentially, we sort of promised each other that these would be whole people, and the way real relationships are when one of you is completely in a spin and the other is taking care of you, and then it shifts around and suddenly, you know, you're the strong one and the other guy's trying to take care of you. I mean, you know what I mean. I got lost in the middle of that sentence, but
it's happened to me.
But I'm back now.
This show and Seinfeld are perfect companion pieces. I mean, it's pretty obvious that if somebody likes Seinfeld, they're going to hang around for this too.
Sometimes I like to think that. Sometimes I wonder if they're like, you know, get off. I don't know that. I hope they're not. But it's such a funny show, and our show is very different. I mean, there is a certain sentimental, for lack of a better word, or heartful quality to the show, because by definition it's about a love relationship. But if we can be as funny as they are, we'll be in good shape.
So Seinfeld's a little darker at the core than this one is.
Yeah.
But this is definitely a New York type story. This isn't Beaver Cleaver.
No, we have a show coming up that takes place all on the West 4th Street subway station, which I know very well because I was in there every day for years, and so it's definitely a New York thing.
And the West 4th Street subway station is a place you want to spend as much idle time as you can.
It's built for comedy, I think.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, please don't panic. There's a slight delay. There's a little fire in the Bronx. It's in the Bronx, and the train is already on its way. We'll be here in 5 minutes. Thank you.
You know, this place's funny. Why don't you just lie to these people?
Don't tell me how to do my job.
I just think you should be honest.
Well, why don't you bear your soul? Go ahead.
Excuse me, folks. Well, we have an update. We're looking at a 20-minute delay. Have a nice day.
Well, you know, honey, you really got a knack for this job.
You know what's an amazing thing about New York subway platforms? Among many things, the sign, no spitting.
We looked at that. They had one of those, no spitting. Oh, I was going to spit. Damn it.
Exactly. But think about what this says about their notion, the Board of Health's notion of who they're talking to. You don't get on a plane.
They've underestimated what might happen on the train, is the truth. People only spit. You're really lucky.
Yeah, that might be the least of the problems, come to think of it. But you don't get on a plane and find a sign, no spitting, by order of the FAA.
No smoking and no spitting. There's no spitting section, sir. I'm sorry.
You're not going to cab and there's a thing from the Taxi and Limousine Commission, no spitting. But on the subway platform, do not spit. I guess the scene that people talk about most to this point in the show's short history is the one where they spontaneously have sex in the kitchen as a way of settling the argument while the guests are in the other room.
Oh, when we were interviewed, we did this press conference for all these reporters, and they're insane, these press conferences. Isn't it also true that, you know, it's like some Senate committee hearings, and this woman said, darling, I have a question for you. Yes. You're not married. Do you think this could really happen? I said, sure, I'm not married, so I can say yes. I can still fantasize that it could. It was a little teeny part of the pilot, but what I liked about it is that we have this huge fight in the pilot, and then they literally make love on the kitchen table, and the idea, I think, was, okay, this show is going to be everything that happens between those two extremes, you know?
You find that all of a sudden there's an explosion of people saying, hey, Helen
Yeah.
Hunt, because we've got this and the Billy Crystal movie, Mr. Saturday Night, coming together at the same time.
Yeah. The nice thing about it is it used to be that I had to give them my resume. I've seen you somewhere. What have you done? Project X? No. Okay. I was on St. Elsewhere? No. Okay. So you're, like life is sort of a big audition now, at least,
Yeah.
they say. Not about you, or Mr. Saturday Night.
Mr. Saturday Night is a terrific role.
Yeah,
The
I love
agent who tries to get Billy's Buddy Young Jr. back on the track.
Yeah. I love how unique the relationship between those two characters was. We did the first scene I had was this thing we shot in front of Rosa, and we're walking down the street, and I've got high heels on and this white coat and this blonde hair, and he's, you know, in his little old age suit, and I thought, this hasn't been done in a lot of movies, these two people getting together.
Yeah. Who did you model the character after?
My agent, completely and totally. My agent is a CAA. I don't even know why I do that. I just do that.
How'd you get on this show?
But she's this sort of elegant, warm, perfect creature, and I tried to be like her and tried to get down her walk, which is much smoother than mine ever was. But I modeled it after her. And I stole one thing that has happened to me every time I've ever met with an agent, which is if they're taking you to lunch and trying to sort of court you, they take out this little piece of paper and they make notes while you talk, and so you're furtively glancing at the notes, and you know, call Coppola for Helen, and you're like, really? I could have that if I sign. That's Sidney Pollack on the phone regarding great parts. Okay, well, I'll sign up. Whatever you say. So I threw that into the Friars Club scene. Wells, Fanny Wells. So I guess they were before my time. I just decided, you know, it's as if someone shellacked this girl, and she just will not be phased. I love you. And until he literally, you know, yells profanity at her across the Friars Club. I mean, that wakes her up a little bit. That's what was nice about the part, is that she really changes because she knows this guy. You know, he really does slap her around, and I think she's like a better person at the end of the movie.
And really comes to care about him, as maddening as he was.
He pointed out that these two characters are incredibly similar. They're both stubborn. They're both sort of incapable of saying I'm sorry ever. They're both driven, you know, and that made it fun to play that they're this very strange mirror for each other.
Our producer, Michael Weinberg, told me that you never saw him during the whole filming out of the makeup.
I certainly saw him a lot before, and we had this big kick-off dinner at Sammy's Romanian, and then we started shooting this 5-month movie, and I never saw him out of his makeup, and then at the very end I came in to do an interview, and I went like, oh, Billy Crystal is here. There's a famous person here. I realized I'd gotten to know him as this actor and director, and had completely, it helped to just erase, you know, what you know about this very famous face in front of you.
The most significant part of his old age makeup, as I recall it, the purple lips. When those lips get purple, you know you really shouldn't be buying anything, you know, long term. Don't buy green bananas if your lips have gotten purple.
That's hilarious. Or a suit you're going to grow into.
Right.
Take a pass on that.
You've got a great role in Mr. Saturday Night. We can ask this question without hurting your feelings, we hope.
Oh, God.
What have you done that you would like to have burned? That if it shows up on HBO someplace,
Yeah,
or
'cause it's gonna
Cinemax,
show up
or
here. I know what
the
you people
Late
do.
Show. That's right, or from our clip file. That's the idea.
Oh, man. Do I dare? All right. I played a princess from outer space in Bionic Woman. My friend. That's what I
The
did.
Bionic Woman with Lindsay Wagner?
No, the other Bionic Woman. Yes, the Bionic Woman. No, the original Bionic Woman.
You mean
Yeah.
it's not like one of these Phyllis Coates, Noel Neal, 2 Lois Lane deals?
No, she's the only one. Yes, and I had this sort of, oh, it's going to show up on this damn show.
Yeah, you're leading right into your
Yeah,
own humiliation.
This is like this. I'm like, okay. Yeah, with this very heartfelt sort of Meryl Streep-esque monologue about my people back on the planet, whatever that need me. Very, very heavy is all I can say.
Why wouldn't Meryl do it?
They went the other way. They went with me. Frankly, I beat her out. It's amazing. I'm also, by the way, like 11, and I haven't developed yet. So I'm in a silver lame, like, it's wild. It's just so wild, and I'm such a sucker to bring it up.
My name is Jamie Sumpter. I live over in Ojai. Now, what's your name?
I'm Princess R.
My home planet is Zora. It's another planet in another solar system on the other side of the galaxy. Look, Aura, I don't know if that's your real name or not, but, you don't have to tell me who you really are. Aura is my name.
We're back from the clip, and wasn't it fun? Man, that's acting.
Wow, it's just very heavy. But I did it, so there you go. Oh, you must have some kind of bionic woman hidden somewhere in your past, don't you? Some version of something that you wish wasn't there?
You know,
I'm smart enough not to say it.
Well, actually, see, I've never done any acting, so you can't get the clip. I mean,
Right.
I've certainly made a fool of myself more times than I can count.
Right.
But they're not chronicled as easily as yours.
If you're after this show and you're turning the channel around, you're bound to see all sorts of bizarre things. I was Murray's daughter in the Mary Tyler Moore Show, a little known fact.
You've taken care of my next question. Go ahead.
That's it. Was that your question?
Yeah, well...
Who was Murray's daughter? Yes,
Now, please make sure your response is in the form of a question if you're going to play this game.
Yes, I was Murray's daughter in the third to the last episode of the Mary Tyler Moore Show.
And how did this happen?
I auditioned and got the part. They were all bursting into tears every 5 seconds because their show was about to be over. And
Murray had a daughter sort of in the script, but we never saw her, right?
You mean earlier?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm not entirely clear. He was ghostwriting for Ted, and he had to make money because his daughter needed a new coat. So.
Man, this is pathetic. It's like a storyline on Queen for a Day.
I do what I can. I was 12. What can I tell you?
Hi, everybody. Hi.
Oh, hi.
Honey, are we too early?
Oh, hey, gee, I can't go to lunch for another hour.
That's okay. We'll go shopping in the meantime. Yeah. We're going to get Laurie a new coat.
Hey, good.
We were going to try to make do another year, but all of a sudden Murray decided we can afford it now. Yeah, I'm finally going to say goodbye to this daddy-looking thing.
You took acting lessons from your dad?
Yeah. He's a wonderful acting teacher, and everybody thinks it would be strange. And I realized recently that it wasn't strange for me, but the poor guys in the class that I asked to do love scenes with me may have had a slightly tougher time than I ever thought. But we're very good friends, and he's an incredibly gentle, egoless teacher. You know, you hear these horror stories about acting teachers that chew up actors, and he's not like that.
Did it carry over to home?
No, but I feel when I go to work, I feel like I have this wonderful suitcase full of techniques, you know, and if I get thrown by something, and on a movie set you get thrown 35 times a day by all the insanity that's there, that I really have got a solid technique that he taught me. I'm incredibly grateful to him.
I'm sure people who've never done it have wondered about this, about a class like this.
Mm-hmm.
Can you actually be taught nuts and bolts in terms of technique, or is it all more in the area of guiding you toward your talent?
I think both, but I definitely think there are nuts and bolts to be learned. I hear about people, you know, they're going to start acting, and it makes me crazy because there really is a skill to it. It's slightly more elusive than painting because there it is in front of you, you know, but there are ways to do it. And I think every director should have to be in an acting class. I really believe that.
Do you look back on your own work and say, could have done that better if I'd done it 2 or 3 years later? I know more now. Could have done it better.
Yeah, definitely. And that's why when the opposite feeling happens, like with the water dance, I went, okay, if people like it or don't, I actually don't have to care because I know that when they said cut, it felt right. When I go see a movie, it's completely unrelated to the experience for me. Like, it's just this strange, flat thing that vaguely reminds me of when we made the movie. But and this I think I learned from my father because he, instead of telling you what he thought, he asked you to tell him first how you felt the work went. But when they say cut, I go, that's right. Or a lot of times in dailies, you'll hear cut, and then you'll see me go, can I have another one? Because I know immediately if I liked or not. Not that I'm always right, but I have my own meter for how well I thought it went.
So knowing what you know now, and with the increased confidence of recent success, how would you play the princess from Jupiter?
No, that was flawless. That's a flawless performance. I'm sorry. There are a few things in this world that shouldn't be touched. There's, you know, Meryl Streep's monologue from Sophie's Choice, and then there's the princess from outer space. That's all I'm saying.
No, my parents sent me away.
Well, that's absurd. Why?
They were afraid I'd be captured and held hostage in the war, so they sent me to Pawn. That's the planet of sanctuary on this